Hello everybody, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV here on Cape Town TV, live at 9 Wednesdays. And of course bringing you the very best of rugby. And of course I think we are now probably the biggest rugby show in the country. Certainly the biggest English-speaking rugby show in the Western Cape. By 25 times. I just have to always remind people that, you know, we bring rugby to life from Western Province like it's never been brought to life before. We have to remind the planet. Right, so of course my distinguished guest, I nearly said extinguished guest, maar jy's nog saam met ons meneer, Herman Abrams, Deputy CEO Western Province on the stage.
Good evening, Dave.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here, always great to be here, and knowing that there's thousands of people out there listening to
hundreds of thousands
and watching what you are saying.
I know, it's actually fantastic. And Paulie, we missed you a little bit last week. We of course had the award ceremony. Nice to have you back. I see Carlos. Carlos is back.
Yeah, James, thanks for having me back. I thought I'd been fired.
No.
And yeah, because Egan's missing tonight, I decided to bring my friend.
Yes.
So Carlos has made an appearance.
Yeah, no, I would never dare fire anyone who looks like an assassin. But let's quickly ask you about that, because I think a lot of people maybe don't know. It's probably Movember, right?
November,
I pray it's Movember.
It's Movember. I wish it was just me. This is just my look. But it's Movember, and I need a head start because this is about 2 weeks.
Not even November. No, I looked like a rot when I tried mine for the first time, and after that I decided, even though it is for a really good cause. Of course, it's to it's a worldwide campaign for people to grow men. I suppose men to grow moustache.
I suppose.
And it's to raise awareness for prostate cancer.
Yes, yeah. I think that's it. I mean, I remember we started, the Bobs for Good Foundation made a big thing about it a couple of years ago, so we started doing it then.
Yeah, there were quite a few people that jumped on. I remember I jumped on it, and those photographs are obviously still haunting me now for the rest of my life, and some people are still publishing those photographs on funny blogs and things like that, and saying like, is this the guy who presents Cape Rugby? Look at him. But anyway, so yeah, well, good luck with that.
Thanks.
You know, of course you get different types of Movembers as well. You get handlebars and walrus and Mr. H, you've also got a Movember. You've had Movember all year.
Yeah, no, it's been here for, I nearly said 70 years. But
of course, Peter de Villiers would be our poster child for Movember, yeah. Folks, it was a fantastic evening last week. It was the Western Province Rugby Awards dinner, the DHL Awards dinner. And everybody was celebrated at the dinner, and we were very excited to show you what we could do at Cape Rugby TV, where we were able to bring you live broadcasts. We've done 2 this year so far, as we showcased the amazing ability of Cape Town TV. We did the live game from NNK and Hands and Hearts. That was at the Jan Burger Sports Complex. And then we rounded it off this year with the broadcast live last week from Kelvin Grove, and we absolutely had an amazing time. Some of you might have missed it, but let's run you through some of the highlights of last week. It was great. Check it out. Many dignitaries arrived on the night. Of course, it was celebration time, and we managed to interview quite a few celebrities. Herman Abrams guided the procedures on the evening, as he was the master of ceremonies, looking splendid in his penguin suit. And of course, Mr. Toby Titus, the president of Western Province Rugby, was there to bring weight to it. Skalk Burger and Jean de Jong, the supremos in the Springbok rugby side representing Western Province, was on hand as part of the Cape Rugby interview panel. And how fantastic it was to have Jean de Villiers, one of the world's greatest centres and one of Cape Town TV's all-time favourites, Geo Plon. Geo Plon joined us together with Jean de Villiers for some great interviews. And of course, it was time for the Club Rugby Division Awards. Many of the divisions prizes being handed out on the night. More than 60 trophies. We managed to speak to guys from DHL, Charles Brewer and Selwyn Lewis, of course, from Club Newlands, also representing. And Don Armand from UCT, the captain of UCT, And never forget the Deputy President of Western Province Rugby Football Union, Thello Wakefield, on hand yet again, showing his presence and showing just how special it was. And our highlight of the season must have been that interview with Chippy Solomons, and we had him back on the night. It was a great evening. Brian Abana. Many people have been dying to see Brian Abana, and there he was on screen with us together with Chippy Solomons. And don't forget the guys from Violets as they helped us round off the evening. It was a fantastic evening, Mr. H. A great awards night.
Yeah, I think it's always fantastic to see all the role players under one roof.
Yeah.
If you should take that building away, there would be no rugby left in Cape Town.
Absolutely.
Because all the role players were there. And it's always great, you know, to see the players there, and the officials, the sponsors. And I wish that we could, you know, sort of perhaps go to a much bigger place, because we are inundated with
you had something like 350 guests?
350.
You handed over more than 60 trophies?
That's right.
And some of those trophies, of course, went to some of the senior players as well, who we don't often get to see. Let's take a look at some of the photographs of the night, and you'll see some of those trophies, which maybe you didn't get to see up close. There you have it. Those are just the shields and some of the division trophies. What a fantastic occasion that was. Some of the players there then, Devald Divanacher, of course, was the player of the year, as far as I know. And let's have a look quickly at some of the other photographs. Marty's women's winner of their division there. And the guys from Tygerberg, there's Tolly Westhuizen and BJ van Ster. Tygerberg winning the Super League B. Yes, and going up. More of the Western Province Rugby players as they were up in the mix. Nick Costa, Katrakilis, Devald Divanacher, Siya Kolisi and JJ Engelbrecht, all representing. The players in one group posing for their pictures towards the end of the evening, all looking absolutely splendid in their blue blazers. And one of the favourites on the night was, of course, that newcomer, Siya Kolisi, who has made such an impact at Western Province. Nick Costa on hand. He's made a great comeback after that injury and looking splendid as well. Of course, many more club players handed out trophies there. And Katrakilis, together with the guys from De Burger, Rian Gerber, who you would quite often have seen on the field at Newlands during half-time with that kicking competition. But Katrakilis was, of course, the club player of the year. JJ Engelbrecht, of course, getting his prize, and some more trophies going out to the guys from the clubs. And this was our all-time favourite pick of the night. Now, if you haven't guessed who that is, well, why don't you let me know on Facebook right now? I'd like to know from you if you can tell me who was that picture. All right, I'm not going to tell you who it is. On Facebook right now, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. It's as easy as that. Just join us and see if you can identify that player. I think we'll quickly go back to that slide in a second, and we'll give you one more shot and see how many of you on Facebook are able to identify Daai Kaal Kop. But a legend in making. There it is. Once again, tell us, who is that funny man over there? Before that, of course, he didn't always have a Kaal Kop. And for those of you that don't know, he did play, I think, for the South African under 21 or under 19 soccer team. So multi-talented. Now, Mr. H and I took a little walk around Newlands the other day. So many people, especially folks watching Cape Town TV, have not necessarily been to Newlands yet. But Newlands, Mr. H, when Newlands is full, it's obviously spectacular. But when it's empty, it's got a funny feeling about it. Huh?
A haunting feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Paulie, when you guys are playing at Newlands and you're playing on the pitch, what's it like practicing, like a captain's practice, when there's nobody in the stadium?
Yeah, James, I think Mr. H said it. It did have that kind of haunting feel. It was very strange. Would much rather be playing on a Saturday in a full stadium than training there by yourselves on the Friday before the game.
Well, of course, things have changed at Newlands. It is the end of the season, and what we didn't know, folks, is that Western Province have always got a few tricks up their sleeves. Now, what we wanted to show you was just how easy it is for you to use your phone and take a couple of videos and just have a little bit of fun. So Mr. H and myself went out field side to check out Newlands and the glowing grass of Newlands. Have a look at this. Hello everybody, welcome to the Newlands Strawberry Travelling Experience. With me, Herman Abrams, the Deputy CEO of Western Province Rugby Football Union. Mr. H, is this what it's come down to now? The Western Province Rugby Football Union is in the off-season planting strawberries at Newlands?
Yes, JP, you know, diversity is the buzzword these days. So when there's no rugby, we turn it into a strawberry field, and we hope that we will have a great harvest by the end of February. We will employ club players to come and assist us. They'll get paid a bucket of strawberries every day. And at the end of, you know, after the harvest is taken to the market, the money will be split. And some of the clubs, but the clubs won't get money, they'll each get 2 strawberries. So that's the part of the team.
Probably going to start a song about this as well, the strawberry fields of Newlands.
Yeah, but don't sing it now,
Okay.
because it's a secret.
Well, there you have it, folks. The hallowed ground of Newlands, so whether there's strawberries there or Super 15 or Springbok players on the park, always special. And wow, Newlands, when there's nobody here, the vibe is just weird. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the show a little bit later. Cheers, bye. Okay, Mr. H, I mean, obviously, we were just having a bit of fun there. I mean, it was so easy to do as well. We were just, all we had to do was take the camera and we were fiddling around, folks, and that's how easy it is. But, I mean, I was quite surprised to see all this tinfoil. Okay, folks, the club rugby spelers arbiter, you're not really going to be picking strawberries at Newlands, okay? But Mr. H, tell us a little bit more. Why is there this plastic lining over the field at Newlands?
Every 5 years, the whole field gets fumigated.
Fumigated?
Yeah. And the plastic is there to prevent the gases from escaping.
Okay.
That they put on there. And it is done to rid the field of all pests and all funguses and all foreign grass seeds. And they put in there 600 kilograms of grass seed.
Of seed?
Yeah. And after that, for the next year, another 400, so 1,000 kilograms of grass seed go onto Newlands field.
Incredible. A ton of seed.
Yeah. And that plastic stays there for 48 hours.
Okay.
And then they remove it, and every second year,
Yes.
the grass is redone, you know, to clean it off.
They strip all the grass off and they realize. But a lot of people don't realize, of course, that that's one of the few fields, I think, in Africa that has got plastic.
Yeah, deso.
Yes, which is
Stabilized.
it's stitched into the ground
That's right.
to improve the irrigation.
And that little operation costs R500,000.
Yes. Okay.
So you can see, you know,
That's just.
there's a lot of work.
And
that
that's
goes
what
into
that's
the field.
what it means to maintain a rugby field. Paulie, what is it? When you're playing rugby, how much of a difference does a good field make?
Oh, Jazz, it makes a hell of a difference. I mean, people just going to soccer, people are always talking about the English Premier League.
Yeah.
If our PSL guys could play on fields like that, the guys would look unbelievable. So it makes a hell of a difference.
And when you're playing rugby, does it make a difference for you as a player, especially in the 7 space? Long grass, short grass, hard field?
Yeah, it does. You know, you can like it. Hong Kong's very much like Newlands. The ground's a little bit soft, the grass is a bit longer, so the field's heavier. Whereas a place like Adelaide, you're playing on a cricket pitch, so you feel faster, but you also don't want to get tackled there. So it's a little bit difficult to catch 22. You know, when the field's heavy, the legs are heavy, and when it's fast, you feel faster. But the roasties are much nicer as well.
But of course, some coaches will say to the greenskeepers, don't cut the grass because we're playing against a really fast team.
Boland.
Boland a fast team? Or
No, Boland don't cut their grass.
They
ever.
don't cut the grass?
Like the last 17 years, I don't think they've cut the grass there.
Well, I remember.
Stellenbosch also don't cut their grass.
They don't cut the.
All the guys come from the north.
Yes.
They use the hard
Yeah.
field, so Stellenbosch don't cut the
I
grass.
often look at that TV footage and I see the grass is brown. You're going up to Kimberley, weet jy gaan net. Of course, Mr. H, there's quite a lot of activity coming up now at Newlands, and I think we can quickly take a look at some of that activity. Newlands isn't going to be dead until the next Currie Cup. There's quite a lot of stuff coming up. Let's take a look at that then, folks. It's the Tri Series. between the Stormers and the Lions. That's on the 27th of January. Then on the 31st of January, the Sharks against the Lions, and it's the Stormers against the Sharks. After that, even more fixtures. The Southern Kings against the Stormers, and then begins the start of the Super 15, the Stormers against the Hurricanes, and of course then the Stormers and the Sharks, the Stormers and the Blues, the Lions and the Stormers and the Bulls. Those are just the beginning of the fixtures. Mr. H, quite a lot of fixtures there.
Yeah, if you just look at the first game, 27th of January, you know, that's a month after Christmas or Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the field is being done right now, because within 2 months it must be...
It's got to be ready.
Ready, going, you know, so...
And I remember it wasn't so long ago that there was that problem with the field about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That
you used to run up every half-time and press down all the parts.
Yes, that's right. People used to run on the field and push it down. Yeah. Right, we've got a couple more. Let's just quickly touch base on that then, Mr. H, the Tri Series at Newlands. Of course, it's a combination of teams that are playing there.
The Sharks and the Lions will join us this year.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, you know, early season, to see what, and the combinations. And it's good for the teams, for their preparation for the Super 15.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise they wouldn't have that kind of
warm-up matches.
Warm-up matches, you know.
And it's important to play those. How important are those warm-up and friendlies, Paulie, before you go into a test match? I mean, you've played a few test matches in your time.
No, very, very, very important. I think the guys, you know, they do a whole lot of work in the off-season, working on their structures, putting their systems into place, and the only way you're going to see it, you know, whether it's going to work or not, is if you play. So it's very important to actually have a few warm-up games behind your back before you go into the Super Rugby seasons. We all know how difficult that is. It's a long season. It's very, very trying.
Well, what does it do for you in terms of the warm-up match? What does it do for you mentally, physically?
Oh, lots, Jeff. So build your confidence in yourself and your teammates, and also your game plan that you guys are going into the season with. Because it's very difficult going into a tournament without trying your game plan. It needs to be tried and tested, and the players actually need to have faith in it to actually go and execute it.
I mean, you played scrum off for the South African 21s and the 19s. I mean, obviously scrum off is it in a game like that you start finding where your fly off is?
Yes, very much so. You know, I think it's still a little bit difficult for the guys because the coaches are still trying certain players out in certain positions, so it is difficult to get your combinations going. But again, like you said, that's where you actually start learning.
I can't stop laughing at you with that moustache. I'm just thinking, Neiman, how am I going to get through the show here?
JP,
I mean, really, okay. If I was a scrum off and I looked up and there I saw, what was that Australian cricket player's name with a big moustache? Anybody on Facebook out there can tell us? Murph Hughes.
Murph Hughes.
Murph Hughes. Imagine as a scrum half looking up and seeing Murph Hughes standing there, and you had to find him. Both of you with your snorter, I don't know. It's just, but you say that's where you start finding your combinations, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And it is important. No, I'm leaving. I'm going.
Let's take a look at some of the other fixtures that are also happening at Newlands. Quite a lot more events there. It certainly does look like it is a long season, and now you can see why it is that rugby is a 12-month season. Of course, Mr. H, tomorrow it's the referees awards function. Then we start the National Sevens. The annual general meeting of the Western Province Rugby Football Union is coming up now in the next month. The Executive Planning Conference and the HSBC's World Series. Let's take a look at that then one at a time. Tomorrow is the referees awards function.
That's right.
You
know, the referees give out a lot of awards. I think more than that we give out at our awards event. But it's good for them, you know, to recognize the referees, especially the beginners and those that are long-serving guys, the Joey Salmonses.
Well, we had Joey on the show, and it was nice. You could see that he actually then. It was nice that I think we shot him last week, getting his award.
Yeah.
So he was awarded what, the referee of the year?
He was referee of the year.
And the newcomer referee was, I think, Stefan de Tooy.
Yeah.
You've had some interesting refs as well this year. Louis Kuhn getting into the picture.
Yeah, Louis Kuhn, his first referee, and I think he must be the first of our current or local Springboks that really took up and joined the referee society. I mean, you find others take a whistle and referee a game, but they don't join the society.
They enjoy the society.
Yeah, he did that.
Quite a lot of fixtures still coming up, or at least, should we say, administrative events and sevens fixtures. We're going to take a look at those in a minute. Let's take an ad break. We'll be back with you in a sec. Mr. H, there really is a lot of administrative stuff that has to be wrapped up towards the end of the year, huh?
Yes, you know, it's planning, it's reports that must be written. The union brings out its annual report and it covers all the aspects of the union. And you would like to, you know, I was very chuffed today when I started doing my things and I looked at the goals that we set ourselves last year, this time, which we will do now again for next year. And we reached all our goals.
But surely we overshot the goals,
yeah,
especially
no,
this
there
year.
are certain,
you know, it was fantastic.
like the media part and the building out of the game. That is way beyond our expectations as part of the show.
Yeah.
You know. And the other things where we build or increase the under-20 sides, you know, by 31 new under-20 sides. You don't find those things anywhere else in the country. It's only here. So that is our, you know, if you set the goals and you reach it and you see, oh yeah, we went way over, then it's great for us.
At which time of the year, Paulie, if you're as a club player, at which time of the year do you start getting your mind about registering to play rugby? When do you start going, okay, I want to play rugby? Do you register in February? I mean, not from the administrative point of view, but you as a player, and I'm talking about more of a social player, someone who wants to play club rugby, who's not playing for Western Province. When do you go, okay, I want to play rugby this year?
Yeah, probably December, January.
That soon?
Yeah, definitely. I think to get into the clubs. I mean, nowadays the club season's it's all season. It's pretty much aligned with the international seasons. So the guys are playing all year.
Mr. H, I must say, I went out to the UWC function on Friday night, and I was extremely impressed with the organisation of they've got bursaries there for some of their players, which I think is very exciting. But what they really seem to be doing is they're creating this vibe for players to join UWC, and it's not about playing for money. It's about playing for the team, for the love, for the university, playing for the community.
Yeah, I think that is, you know, most of the clubs try to create that kind of situation at their club. Because if you draw players only because of money, you don't draw spectators. Players bring their families. If you buy players from outside of Western Province to come and play for your club, where's their families? When are they going to watch you?
Well, absolutely. And the other club that excites me, really excites me this year, and I mean, quite frankly, if I was a player, I would be very tempted to go and join Tygerberg this year, who have just come up from Super League B, who have got such a geest there. I'm not going to worry about money. You can't pay me enough to not be involved in rugby because, you know, there's a geest there. I mean, you get there, there's such a vibe, and you really are playing for the people, and the people are coming to see you. I mean, and there's a couple of clubs like that, but that surely is much more important than paying for paying to play.
At Tygerberg, you know, and some other clubs, you become the property of the community.
Yeah.
They will tell you how good you are or how bad you are. You will hear within the first 10 or 15 minutes what you're doing on the field.
But I mean, you have to give credit, really have to give credit to the clubs that are able to maintain themselves and build and improve without paying their players.
That's the best.
Yeah.
It was like that before professional rugby came into being. Nobody got paid. You might have received R5 here or Coke here or cool drink there, but nobody got paid. So now,
Paulie, when you were
a lot of people are paying them big money.
Yeah, but I get the feeling that it's the people who pay are the people who don't do anything extra for the players, so they have to pay. When you were playing for UCT or what other clubs did you play for? I don't know where all you played, but
no, just UCT. No, we got paid on the DOP system.
Oh, Yes,
Yeah, so when we won, there were cases of beer. when we lost, there was nothing.
Even the camera crew are laughing here now. No, we're not allowed to mention the DOP system on TV. But it seems to me that you've got a choice in terms of how to attract players to play for your club. Either you can make your club so exciting that you play for the want to be there, or if you haven't bothered to make your club exciting, you've got to find something else, and then you have to buy them.
For those of the people out there who don't know, that was the gist of Monday night's workshop.
Of course, yes. We actually need to touch base on that.
That you must create an event. Every match must be an event.
Yeah.
It's not just a match that you come and play. Create an event that will attract the people to your field.
So, folks, let me quickly fill you in on that, and in the sense that we had the social media and sponsorship workshop on Monday night. There were 65 odd clubs there, and it was all about creating excitement, creating a vibe, building a Facebook page for your club, having a Twitter handle for your club, watching the scores and results from other clubs, and most importantly, putting all of that together so you can take it to a sponsor with a value-added attraction. And this time around, you're getting it with a stamp of approval from Western Province Rugby, and Western Province Rugby have structured, and are busy in the process actually, of structuring a benefits package that is worth a certain amount that you can take to sponsors. And Mr. H, that's what it's about. That's about turning your players into celebrities, putting your players on blogs and photographs, and that's what makes them want to come back game after game.
And once you have that, the sponsors will also come and see, why is there all this activity happening in my area? Why are the people rushing past my shop to go in by the gate at Florida Park? You know, let me go see you. Maybe I can get something back from there. So those that were not there, a few of them that were not there, they once again lose out.
Well, if you want those benefits, you're going to have a chat. It's interesting that some of the administrators of the organisations came under a bit of flack there. But quite frankly, I think the only person that should be paid at a club is the coach, nobody else. Pay the coach and let him motivate, inspire, excite, and do the work. Look after. Anyway, that's my little theory. But I also think that a little bit of pocket money on a Saturday wouldn't do any harm for unemployed people. So you should probably have people like us from Cape Town TV and the Cape Rugby Show. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the other functions coming up during the course of the year still. It is the National Sevens men and women. That's on the 4th and 5th of November in East London. We're going to take a look at that squad in a second. It's the AGM and the Executive Planning Conference and the HSBC Sevens World Series in Port Elizabeth. And my man Paul Delport will talk to me more about that. Let's quickly look now at that DHL Western Province Rugby Sevens squad. Very exciting squad. Looks like the players come from all over the place. But yes, Justin Lecoq, Benny Adams, Alconroy Buerta, Stuart Calder, Eric Zano, Rowan Kutsoff, Sinitemba Mapakwa, yes, otherwise known as Snez, Shoaib Samai, Philip Hopley, Thurlow Peterson, Angelo Nelson, and Vivian Fredericks. Okay, so there's the team. And Mr. H, if I just look at some of those names there, some of those names really jump out at me. If I go through those names there, if I look, for example, Sinitemba from El Sesofir, Snez, he really made the effort. He stood out at the club, he got the attention, and he's been called up into the Sevens squad.
And the club made sure that he was at the training of the Sevens.
What do you mean? Explain that?
Previously, you know, there was a whole outcry when I said here that they're hiding him from the spotlight. And then they took him there. Yeah. And he's there. It shows that when we awarded him the day of the Elsies River Hamlets, he was actually our first man of the match recipient.
Yes, that's right. He was the first one to win the
So
charter.
what it says is that we know our rugby. Selectors closing.
Absolutely. If I just look at some other names that jump out for me there, Philip Hopley, he was the man of the match and the captain at the NRK game, Paul.
He was,
In actual fact, you picked him as someone to watch out during the game.
Egan, before the game, said
okay,
he's the
it
man.
was Egan, all right. I was trying to give you some
I know
credit
you're trying to, but I've got enough credit with Carlos here, don't I?
Carlos the moustache. Let's quickly look at some of those players that are on standby in that Sevens squad. Ricardo Lewis is in the mix from Belhar. Idris Aronsa, Gafoor Lakun, we know him very well. He's been around the block a bit. Dugald Williams, Damian De Allender, and Elmer Thomas from Belleville. So some pretty nice players in the mix there. Quite a nice spread, Mr. H, of players that have come.
The one thing about this Western Province 7 side, we've never really made it. You know, we fall out in the semi-finals, quarter-finals. I don't know, it's some kind of...
Why do we fall out, Paulie? You're the sevens expert. Why do we fall out?
No, I don't know, Jobs. It's very, very difficult to put a sevens team together a week before a tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, what a lot of people don't understand, you know, you always think you watch us play, and you think, oh, sevens is easy. You come and you throw a ball around, you throw some backflip passes, and you step a couple of people. It's really not. It's a completely different game. Yeah. You learn a completely different way of playing. There's a different skill set. Yeah. And I think some guys, it takes certain guys longer than others to actually get up to speed, and that's where you end up falling short.
Any advice for the sevens players?
Yeah, I think if the guys get a structure to work to, which they will now. I mean, we're actually playing against the Province boys tomorrow evening, just for warm-up games.
Who's we? You being the Springbok Sevens?
Yeah, yes. We're playing against them tomorrow night. So just to say, as soon as you know, the faster everybody gets on the same page, the easier it will be for them to play as a team and actually.
So when you use words like structure, what do you mean? You're talking about drills or moves or combinations?
Well, moves and just ways to play sevens, just to actually end up using the space better, putting your certain players that you need to be in certain positions. You have your strike runners, you have your playmakers. Just having those guys in the right positions at the right time to make the right decisions.
Hell of a complicated.
Yeah.
Playmakers and strike runners. I mean, well, I don't know, anyway. Sounds very complicated to me. So I think if you're a sevens coach, you need to know your stuff.
I must say that, you know, the other unions, perhaps, I don't know, I think they just prepare better, because Boland, who's been the champions for a few years, they bring their entire, or they bring curry cup players.
Yeah.
The same with the other provinces. We tend to just use, you know, the club players and so on.
But it's a great opportunity for club players to come through. I mean, if anything, that's the time for them to get a shot in the spotlight.
But you know, Western Province must now create the culture of winning competitions that they play in. Like the amateur teams, we have the culture of winning our competitions. The professional team must also have that culture.
But at the same time, we also need to develop the culture of supporting the team win or lose.
No, we always, we shout at them, but we support them. We're always there.
You guys are like the bosses, so you want the trophies. We're the fans, we just support, win or lose.
Keep on doing it.
Paulie, what do you prefer? A fan who only supports you because you win, or a fan who just backs you all the way?
It's just, you know, obviously a fan who just backs you all the way, definitely.
Right. Are they out there? Are there any out there?
No, there are. I'm going to say that Cape Town, it's tough. When Province don't do well, you cop it properly. But then again, on the other side of the coin, when you play well, people love you.
Yeah.
So again, like Mr. H said, just make sure you win, then you make your life easy.
It occurred to me earlier on, I mean, just while we were in the World Cup, and when we started looking at this whole broadcasting scenario, it occurred to me that nobody had thought about why the fact that the Springboks had, at some stages, not always had as many supporters as they could have, nor the Stormers, because we know that for a fact that there are a lot of Crusader supporters in Cape, there's a lot of Blue supporters, and there's a lot of All Black supporters. And then I started to realize, well, maybe that it's kind of difficult to make a connection with the All Blacks, the Stormers, or Western Province when you never get to see them on TV. So, of course, building that brand is a little bit more difficult. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not there's any broadcasting or structural changes, because if you want to build that relationship with the fans out there, you need to show them the players and show them the brand. Well, folks, hopefully we will show you the brand Western Province Rugby here on Cape Town TV as much as possible. Let's take a look at the women's sevens team, not to be forgotten, my favorite team of all. Of course, the women's rugby team out there. Andrea Stubbs, Claudia Davids, Voyokazi Mbonda, Mariska Lewitt, she was on our show recently, Charmaine Kaiser, Veriska Crane, Sasha Tenka, Elma Kemp, Natasha Hofmeister is the captain, Janine Felix, Amy Barrett, and Zimkita Nsilana. Now, that is your women's team. Paulie, how much of a difference between men's sevens and women's sevens?
Oh, not too much. Just men and women.
Just men and women.
Same ball on the field.
Less Carlos.
Women have the same skills. Well, hopefully. Hopefully less. Fewer moustaches. Yeah.
Fewer moustaches, yes. Yeah. Well, it's time for us to take an ad break, folks. We're going to, of course, when we come back, wrap up with some of our sponsors, and we're also going to touch base with some of the Stormers rugby players who recently went out to go and check out one of the yachts in the waterfront, where it's the launch of the Volvo yacht race, of course, out there, because DHL is one of the sponsors of the main yacht that the Stormers went to sail on. How many of them got seasick? I don't know. We'll be back with you guys in a minute. Just looking at the Facebook page now, a couple of interesting comments there. Jerome Falkvane says, yes, Conrad Janchis. Dudley Jacobs says, Conrad Janchis. And Gershon Trussell says, that guy looks like Tim Howard, the keeper from Everton Rugby Football Club. Speaking about football, now I did say, actually, over the weekend, that I was going to talk about tennis. Then I was going to turn the show into a tennis show, because it was important that we speak about, game, set, match. You'll have scores like 6-love, 6-3, 6-4, in the world of tennis. But of course, this week it was tennis in the world of soccer, and I thought it very important, because we know that there's so many Manchester United fans out there who I know became Manchester United fans after they saw the sticker on the back of a taxi. Paulie, are you a Man fan?
Not.
You're not a Man fan.
It was a fantastic weekend for me. I'll never, ever forget this weekend. Never.
Mr. H, are you a Man fan?
No.
There's no Man fans? Right, so for the Manchester United fans out there, can you please, anybody, on Facebook right now, just explain to me, I missed the match, but I heard it was 3-1, and then 10 minutes before it was still 3-1. And then Manchester City managed to turn it into a tennis score, and that Manchester United lost 6-1. Nigel Pearce, if you're out there, I know that you're probably like the president of the Manchester United Supporters Club. We honestly need to get you on the show if you can explain to us what has happened to Manchester United. Is this the end of Manchester United? Are they closing down? Are they firing their players? Is it time for the coach to go? Because heavens knows, when it's 6-1, the coach has failed. You have to fire the coach. In actual fact, I believe he came out in a press conference after that loss, Alex Ferguson, and said that he is quitting and it is the end of the road for him. Much like Peter de Villiers came out after the World Cup and said he is quitting, it is the end of the road for him. Or will you believe everything you hear in the media? My condolences to the Manchester United fans. If you're out there, I know you're still struggling and the pain is sitting deep with you. But yes.
There is a helpline.
There is a helpline?
0861 6161.
www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. If you're not a Manchester United supporter fan, jump on and support Cape Rugby. And if you're a Manchester United fan, best of luck for the next match. It was always going to happen. But yes, honestly, I've been waiting about 20 years to tell people this. I had to live with this on Good Hope FM with Nigel Pearce every day.
Glory, glory.
Glory, glory, man. And now it's glory, glory. 6 nooks. Anyway, at least you guys got the 1 point there. You managed to score the 1 goal. So it's not all doom and gloom for the Manchester United fans. You managed to score 1 goal, which is a positive. This means you can build. Next time you can look at scoring 6-2. And so you go 6-3, 6-4, until you eventually are up there with the other teams that are at a higher level. Okay. Mr. H, now that I've managed to rub the noses of Man fans, and I know there's probably going to be all waiting in the parking lot for me, it was the school's rugby AGM today?
Yeah, the high schools had their annual general meeting. There were a lot of new nominations, but in rugby it's very difficult to change the guard. And all the members got in, from Danny Jones, the chairman, right down, and there was actually 1 vacancy, and Armin Brink.
Armin Brink from Voice of the Cape?
Yeah, he's now newly elected, a member on the executive.
What an excellent choice. I think he's a true gentleman. And Armin, if you're out there and you're listening, very best of luck, and couldn't have chosen a better man for the job. We're looking forward to seeing the difference that you're going to make in the youth rugby. Remember, Cape Town TV is 100% behind you guys there. Let's quickly look at some of those other upcoming events. Of course, it is the annual general meeting of Western Province Rugby's Football Union, the Executive Planning Conference. In actual fact, we can just stay on that then, and it's the HSBC Sevens. Mr. H, the annual general meeting for the union, what do you guys do there?
It's just the annual report. There's no elections this year because we only have elections every second year.
Right.
So this year there's no election. So.
Okay, and then you've got an executive planning conference in December?
Yes. You know, we plan most of the things.
You plan your holiday?
No. We're already on holiday that time. The offices are closed, but we will have to work. Well, I'll have to work.
Yes, I'm sure you'll have to work, yeah.
But, yeah, it's just, you know, most of the things have been planned already. All the meetings and all the things have been set down.
Yeah.
The fixtures, the only thing that we're waiting now is the Curry Cup fixtures.
When do you start with doing club fixtures?
The club fixtures we're busy with now.
Already?
Yeah.
For 2012?
Yeah, we've got all the things laid out. Now we are, tomorrow or so, we'll ask the clubs to send us all the special dates.
Right.
You know, that the universities wants to be off. Clubs want to be off during the fast of Ramadan. Others have anniversaries and celebrations, and they can't play.
You've got to take all this into account?
We take all that into account, we put it into sit down and we check it all out, and then...
So you take into account university holidays, you take into account the month of Ramadan, you take into account Jewish holidays.
Everything.
All of those kind of holidays.
All the clubs have the opportunity to ask now if they can't play on a specific Saturday.
Okay, okay.
So
of course,
we put it in, you know.
One of the other big events coming up then in the month of December is the HSBC Sevens World Series. Paulie, tell us about that.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
It's now moved from George to Port Elizabeth,
Yeah.
The Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium, which is a fantastic venue.
Yeah.
We're all very excited, and I mean I've never been to PE in December, but apparently it's an absolute party.
People you come back with a moustache and a mohawk, a mullet.
A mullet. No, there's no mullet.
How many teams at the HSBC World Champs?
16.
16?
16 in each tournament, and in Hong Kong there are 24, because Hong Kong's the flagship tournament.
You expecting this to be tough?
Yeah, it always is. The guys are going to come hard. I'm sure all the teams are working hard at the moment. But we're definitely going to make a big push to win it. You know, you always want to win your home tournament.
Yeah, yeah. You feeling the vibe already? I mean, it's only a month away.
Yeah, it's only a month away, and you know how it goes with the Sevens. You blink your eyes and you go. We're leaving on the 18th of November for the first tournament.
Right.
And it's going to be 3 in a row, so it's going to be taxing on the bodies, but it's going to be fantastic to play the third leg at home.
But you've been working hard now for a while. You're all prepped and ready to go, man.
Yeah, no, we are.
It's a pity that they lost the ARB Sevens World Player.
The RB Sevens World Player?
Yeah, I didn't tell you. Do you guys hear about Cecil Africa?
Cecil, yes.
RB Sevens Player of the Year. First South African in history to be named Sevens Player of the Year.
Amazing.
So he goes into the Hall of Fame with Wasali Sarevi and
yes.
Wali Maya and all those guys.
All those guys Cecil, you played against, eh?
Yeah, so Cecil will be fine. He'll be back for Dubai and Port Elizabeth. He'll just miss the first one.
So just missed the first one, back in the mix, huh?
Back in the mix.
Is he?
How do you break your cheekbone? You know?
He got a knee in his face.
But that's the second time now.
No, he broke his jaw the last time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he tackles like
fragile face.
Oh, he tackles front end, yeah. Time for us to take a look at our Evox product competition, folks. This is what you need off-season, and this is what the guys are using now already to start bulking up. This is where you have your time to get into the gym. You've got 3 or 4 months to prep. The Stormers have got even less time. The Sevens guys have been doing it for the last few months, getting ready. You need to get into the gym right now. You've had a week's rest. Jody Birch was here with us 2 weeks ago. He said he's going to take 1 week's rest, and then he just hits the gym hard. During that time, you need to be eating 2 or 3 protein shakes per day. Evox is going to help you get there, not to mention the fact that you need to eat everything else. Folks, in case you get any other advice out there, the simple rule of thumb is eat like a horse. Train like an animal and eat like a horse. Put on the muscle while you can. We did draw a winner from the Evox competition, and all you needed to do was SMS tell us who the Evox is, who's the official supplier to the Stormers. And this week's winner of the Evox 5 kilogram Mega Grow is Rodney Hart. Congratulations, Rodney. You win yourself a bucket of Mega Grow. Right, there we go, folks. So, of course, available at Dis-Chem, M-Chem, Clicks, Pick and Pay, and other leading pharmacies. 5XL Mega Grow, that's what you need to get. Put yourself in the mix. 2 of these shakes a day, 2 to 3 shakes like this. Tops up the protein stores, packs on the muscle. And you want to know how to get in touch with the guys? Very easy, right? Just drop them an SMS to 32010 with the word Evox and follow with your name, and I'm sure they'll get in contact with you right smartly. Also, it's on the Club Rugby website, www.peakclubrugby.co.za, and under the sponsor section, you can go apply for your Club Rugby special dispensation as an official supplier. So a bucket like that will probably last you about 6 weeks, okay? The cost of food so high, quite frankly, I would suggest it's not a bad idea.
There are 30 clubs being tested right now.
Yeah?
At the Sports Science Center. Those guys know that they need that product. So they better wake up there, not come back when they must be retested and then they're worse off than when they started.
Well, it was interesting to look at the World Cup, and every time that they showed those scenes, those camera scenes, you know, in the locker room scenes, the tables were laid out with the supplements, and you go to the Stormers changing rooms, laid out with the supplements, because they know protein is what gets the recovery. They've got the energy drinks that puts them back on the field, and whatever any dietitian, of course, any dietitian is going to say it's not necessary. You can put on muscle by eating bread. Absolute rubbish. It's time for us to take a look at what the Stormers got up to just last week. They went to check out the Volvo Action Ocean Race at the waterfront. We caught up with the mayor as well as some of the Stormers. Let's see what the boys had to do.
The people of the city and the world will have the benefit of race villages, getting behind the scenes looks at the world of professional sport.
Cape Town is associated with excellence, and the team of the Volvo team here, and we've got, of course, our Stormers here, it's all associated with excellence, and Cape Town will put up a good show.
Yeah, Cape Town is the second leg of the Volvo Around the World Ocean Race, and I think the boats arrive here on November the 7th, and today is the first part of our activation of the branding of that event. So we launched the J133 that you see behind us, and that race is in races around Cape Town, but also will be used for customer events, employee events, and of course to help some disadvantaged children. We'll take out and give them a real first-class experience out in the water.
Yeah, I think it's good fun. I think all the people, all the boats pulling in, I think it's going to be a good vibe. It's always a good vibe in Cape Town. I think it's just going to be better now.
No, definitely. Yeah. Tourism, all that kind of stuff, and just the people in Cape Town. They are quite big on boats and the outdoors. So it's quite nice to see us out here and enjoying themselves.
I don't know much about sailing myself, but just hearing the mayor speak now, I mean, obviously it's a massive thing for Cape Town, and it will also, I think it will bring a lot of people together. And I mean, they spoke about the youth as well, so massive importance, and really looking forward to it.
Nice to see the Stormers getting out there, and quite often we don't see those guys, folks. We're going to do, in a minute or so, take a look at our colour tone paints competition, so get yourself ready for that. And then we'll have a chat at the end of the show about the Rugby World Cup. But before we wrap all that up, Mr. H, just a reminder then for the folks, on the 29th of November, it's the Kiddies Party.
At the HPC, and
which is the high performance centre where the Stormers train.
Yeah, at Belleville.
At Belleville.
We would like people to start bringing, you know, toys and whatever they can. We've got quite a lot of...
Is it open to the public?
Not really, but they can come and have a look at what is happening there on the day.
Okay.
The space is a bit limited around there.
Right.
Because we put up a lot of play centers for the kids, you know.
Yes.
And we're not there long because those kids, a lot of them can't stay out longer than an hour, then they get tired.
Yes.
So
of course, a lot of orphanages and disadvantaged kids?
And disabled kids.
Yes, okay.
So we bring them there and we just make them aware of the joy is in getting their presents and their gifts.
So folks, on that note, we will be having another, possibly before the 29th of November still, we'll be having one more before we break for the social media seminar. And that'll be a great opportunity for you as the PR or the committee administrator. If you're a president of a club worth your salt, you will be asking your community to donate some toys and give it to one of those PR or social media people and just bring it to us at that seminar. That's a great idea.
That's great.
That's a good idea. Otherwise, on the day, on the 29th, HPC, chance for the kids out there, the disadvantaged kids, the poor kids, the orphaned kids, disabled kids who have never seen the Stormers or Western Province Rugby players in action or even been to a facility like the HPC. It's an opportunity there for you to bring toys to the field. So make sure that you do that. Let's take a quick look at Colour Tone Paints that have supported us so keenly during the course of the year. Colour Tone Paints is your white line fever sports field marker of a choice. We put it out every week and we ask you to SMS the word Colour Tone to 32010 if you want to win yourself a hamper courtesy of Colour Tone. Last week's winner, Esther Afir. Congratulations, you win yourself a Colour Tone hamper. The boys will be in touch. Colour Tone Paints, the white line sports field marker of choice. Folks, of course, it's been World Cup time. We might as well have a quick chat about that. Paulie, All Blacks against France. What do you think?
Yeah, it was surprising. Personally, I thought the All Blacks were going to give them a hiding. So it was fantastic to see France come out the way they did. And I think just for the spectators, it's never nice to see a one-sided final. So it was a special game of rugby. But at the end of the day, I would have been very upset if France won. I think New Zealand would have been, volcanoes would have erupted, tidal waves would have come in, people would have been jumping off the Auckland Bridge. So it was fantastic that the All Blacks won. And
not doing the bungee jump. Mr. H, you and I had a feeling France might come through from the beginning,
yes, right. We are. I mean, I was hoping that the French would upset everybody.
Yeah.
Because then it would have justified my belief in them.
Yeah.
And but then things happen. I still think I couldn't believe when I heard that the French were fined because of they came too close. What does that rule got to do with rugby?
Yeah, I'm sorry, if you want to do the haka and you want to square off, you must face up to whoever's going to face up to you.
What if they had turned around and looked the other way or walked away and stood on the other side?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Then they would also have been in trouble. We can't protect New Zealand.
No. I think you must keep your traditions and cultures can go only so far before you start basically being a disruption to the rest of the community.
No, but it was a great game. And in the end, I think, as Paul said, it was great for the spectators.
Yeah.
It was close, tense till right to the very last minute. I still think that the referee should have penalized the All Blacks at least 5 or 6 times in the last 20 minutes.
Well, yeah.
But he didn't do it. He said he didn't want to do it.
Well, it was a game of rugby, and he had to keep running. Yeah. Let's quickly take a look at that picture photographs. You pick, folks. You wanted to know who it was. It was Conrad Jantjies. Connie Jantjies. That was the hidden picture then, and I know quite a few folks on Facebook managed to throw it out there. Mariam M. Jajaku says, Manchester United is the kid in the class that fools around, fails tests, but usually finishes top of the class. Thanks, Mariam, for that. We're looking forward to seeing all the web-savvy people at the next social media seminars, folks. Make sure that you stay in the mix there. It's as easy as asking your administrators and following the newsletters and going to the Club Rugby website. Get in the mix, all right? We're talking social media. We're talking about sports sponsorship. It's very, very exciting. Paul Delport, thank you very much, my man. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Good to see you again.
And Mr. H, it's not over for you yet. You've still got a lot of work to do at the union.
Yeah, well, just carry on.
Just carry on. Just carry on. Looking forward to those fixtures. Right, folks, that is a wrap from Cape Rugby TV. We'll catch you again next week at 9 o'clock, same time, same place. And if you're looking for information, go and join us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. To me and the rest of the crew here at Cape Town TV, have a fantastic evening. See you on the weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.